The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
Yeah! Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah!
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and we got an absolutely extraordinary guest on the show. And I almost want to skip all this other stuff and just bring her on right away. So, but I tell you, we're going to do it the right way. How you doing, Michelle? How you doing?
I am doing great. We love having her on the show. She's in a different role today. She is not the guest co-host, she is the guest. So we're excited about that.
I've been knowing this guest for quite some time. Actually, she gave me my start in television, radio, and podcasts. And, I'm just so happy that God brought our paths across each other because it's just been a wonderful ride. But I tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching us on, if you want to be part of the show, if you're watching us on 836 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, and over 80 other platforms, welcome to the show. If you want to be part of that, all you have to do is just go to the comments and ask any questions in the comments that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Michelle, can you please do the honors and tell our viewers and our listeners the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely magnificent guest?
Yes, the title of today's show is called Care Companion. Aid for Grievers and Caregivers. We're having a discussion with Paula Shaw. She's a life transitions expert, grief specialist, keynote speaker, media host, and author. She's going to talk about difficulties of being a caregiver, resources available for caregivers, the impact of isolation for caregivers and grievers, and the app called Care Companion. For more than 25 years, Paul has been dedicated to helping people navigate the stress of change and challenge using mind-body tools and techniques. She's a founding member of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. She strongly believes that the tools and methods of this field can shortcut meaningful change and help people get their lives on track and moving in the desired direction more quickly than with traditional methods. You know, she has a coaching program called Bridges Beyond Grief, which is a customized approach that walks each individual through the challenges of loss and change into a vibrant, satisfying life of purpose and joy. Please welcome to the show, Paula Shaw.
Hello, guys. I'm so glad to see you. You're going to make me cry, all these lovely things you were saying about me.
Oh, man. We love you, Paula.
Oh, thank you. And I have to say, right off the top, because I'm a girl and, you know, vanity and all that stuff, I have a Band-Aid on my nose today, and I want to say it right out because I don't want to feel self-conscious about it the whole time. I had a little basal cell on my nose I had to have treated. So hopefully the next time you see me, it'll all be healed and we'll be back to normal. But for today, it was kind of the show must go on. So I threw on my Band-Aid and here I am.
Hey, Paula, you are as beautiful as always. You know, so it's been a while. I mean, I think the last couple of weeks I was overseas.
Yes.
Having a great time. I'm glad to be back here now. Paula, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you? I know Michelle just read that. A little bit more about you, where you grew up, what made you click?
Sure. I was born in New York City, but I have been here in California since I was about 3. So I consider myself pretty much a SoCal girl. I originally was trained. Well, I've done so many things in my lifetime. I just had my 75th birthday last week. So that's a lot of time to do a lot of things. I was a school teacher originally, and then I went into sales and marketing at a resort in Sun Valley, Idaho. I came back and became a location manager in the movie business. And that was where I met the father of my children, who was a producer of a pretty popular show called Barney Miller. But he had issues with substances. And I ended up going back to school and getting my credentials to be a substance abuse counselor, alcohol and drug abuse counselor. And that changed my life. That's when I really found what I was meant to do. And it was at a conference on substance abuse that I met John James, who was the author of the Grief Recovery Handbook. And that changed my life. The minute I met him, he looked at me and said, "Do I know you?" And I said, "No, but I think I'm going to be working for you." I had no idea what he was doing or anything. It just was like that intuitive knowing. And as it turned out, he had the Grief Recovery Institute in Beverly Hills, California. And within a year, I was working with him and got my credentials in grief recovery and found what I think I came to the planet to do, to help people dealing with loss and life transitions.
Wow. That's God letting you know
Totally.
you're on the right path.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people deal with grief and don't know how to handle that, or do not know how to reach out to the right person to help them. I wouldn't say get over grief, because sometimes we never get over grief, but to help make it easier.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Paul?
Well, before I say anything about that, JC, I would be remiss to be a grief expert and not say something about the fact that there's a kind of collective grief going on today because it's September 11th and our country went through a horribly traumatic, awful day, September 11th, I believe about 24 years ago. And I think that we all have that experience of knowing exactly where we were when we first heard about what had happened. And Michelle and I were speaking about that before the show started. And, you know, there's cellular memory that we all have too. So sometimes even when we don't realize consciously something's bothering us, it's because on a cellular level, we are feeling that pain. That happens on anniversaries of trauma or loss. And so if you're somebody out there today and you're just going, why don't I have any energy? Or why do I feel so funky? Or why am I sad? It could very well be cellular memory from September 11th, when that horrible tragedy happened to all of us long ago.
Wow. Let me tell you, September 11th, I was working in the Pentagon, but I wasn't in my office at the Pentagon. I was off office in another. And at our office, we had television all over the place. And we saw the first tower.
Oh my God.
Go up. And then minutes later, we saw the second tower go up. And a couple of hours later, the Pentagon got hit.
Oh, that's right.
It got hit in the area that I would have been in if I would have been over there that day. So we lost a lot of friends, a lot of coworkers there. And that still haunt me to this day.
Oh, and if I remember correctly, wasn't there a plane that was on its way to Washington?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That plane kind of went down.
Yes.
Yes. But yes.
Yeah. You know, it's a day of remembrance for a lot of people, regardless what event has occurred on this specific day. And I know we got a minute or two before we go to break. One of the most important things about what you do, Paula, one of the many most important things is about the information that you provide to the public about not only grieving and how to grieve, but also information about caregivers, caregivers and their role in just helping and assisting and basically making it their lives to help those who are less fortunate, who are not able to take care of themselves, and the responsibility and the amount of mental stress it may have on them. So we're going to dive into that topic today.
Yes, I look forward to that after the break, because caregiving and grieving walk hand in hand. You know, it's a very, very difficult thing. And so many of us, let's remember, the biggest part of the population now is seniors in countries all over the world. And so that means somebody is in the caregiver role as the health declines or as there are problems with mobility or all sorts of things that happen as we age. So, we got a lot to talk about.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Station break. Boom. When we come back, we're going to talk about that. Michelle is going to ask a few questions. And I'll tell you what, if you want to be part of this great conversation that we're having with Paula Shaw, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching us on. That's any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith and learning come together to transform lives. At VCU, we believe that education is more than just academics. It's about fostering a community of growth, integrity, and purpose. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, VCU offers flexible, affordable, and 100% online degree programs that cater to your busy life. Our innovative platform provides a personalized learning experience, empowering you to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Join a global community of learners guided by an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Viridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and the topic that we are discussing today, I mean, especially, it's important. And Michelle and Paula brought up 9/11. 9/11. We lost a lot of folks during that time. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of grieving, and still folks are grieving. Even today feel funny. Just being 9/11. But you know, we all have to have experts like Paula to help us get over some of the pain that we might be having or still having. So it's important that we reach out to professionals like Paula. If something is on our mind, we just can't get past it. She can help you get past it. You know, with that being said, if you want to be part of this conversation, whichever platform that you're watching us on, all you have to do is go to the comments. Ask any questions that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Michelle.
Thank you. So Paula, title of the show is called Care Companion, and we're going to talk about that app in a minute. Aid for Grievers and Caregivers. So let's kind of just start off what are the most common emotional challenges caregivers face on a daily basis?
Oh, that one is so huge, Michelle. And it's so important, I think, to talk about it because, first of all, when you're put in a role of being a caregiver, in all likelihood, you have to give up your life as you knew it. There's this major sacrifice in the very beginning that now your role has changed. It's not just about whatever you did professionally. It's not just about your family or your friends. a lot of that is going to have to be second place to this job that's now in front of you. The feeling of overwhelm is often problematic because you've got so much on your plate now. For most caregivers, you don't get to just give up whatever you were doing for a job. You now add the caregiving responsibilities onto whatever you do to earn money. It can also be a really difficult situation because of the physical nature of what is wrong with the person that you're taking care of. I can tell you from my own experience in helping my mom, she has sight impairment, some serious macular degeneration, and hearing loss. And so that means there are challenges all day long with me having to repeat myself with her. I'll be 2 paragraphs in and she'll go, what are you saying? And it's, and you want to just go, but you got to instead take a deep breath and say, which part did you hear? Or which part did you not hear? And sometimes she just says, well, all of it. You're not speaking clearly. And I was speaking clearly, but she has this hearing deficit. So it can really, really wear on your patience when you're taking care of someone with challenges. There's fear that comes up that you don't have the skill level that really is necessary to do it right, or that you don't know all the right things to do. There can be stress on your personal relationship or your family relationships, and certainly stress on the relationship between you and the person you're caring for. So there's so many. These are just a few of the demands on that are on caregivers, but it's there. You know what I mean, Michelle? It's like you don't walk away from it because you're there to help care for somebody who can't do all those things for themselves. So you really have to. I think a while back, you may remember we had David McNally on the show, and
Yes.
he talked about his experiences with taking care of his wife with Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And he says sometimes for the 3rd time, she would say to me, so what is on our agenda today? And he said, what you can't do is say, I already told you that, or we talked about that 15 minutes ago. You just take a breath and you very kindly and gently say what you said, maybe 2 or 3 times already, without getting upset, without making the person feel less than or inferior or damaged. So it requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of sacrifice to be a caregiver. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like support for these caregivers is so important.
So when people hear the emotional toll it takes on a caregiver, they're thinking emotional, mentally. But what about physically? What physical or even financial challenges? Now, people just assume, and I guess I can incorporate this question to one: physical, financial challenges, and the myth that the caregiver is always the spouse or a family member. It could be somebody you hire outside the family.
Sure.
So can you kind of talk about that, Paula? Physical, financial, and caregivers are not just related to the family.
I'll tell you an example of someone I worked with in my private practice who had all of those challenges. And I'll call her Maria, though it's not really her name. But her husband was ill with both Parkinson's and dementia, Lewy body dementia, which is a very severe form of dementia. And she tried in the beginning to take care of him, but he was bigger than she was. Physically, she knew, were he to fall and his balance was an issue, she could never pick him up. or if he grabbed for her, she might go down with him. She eventually just had to acknowledge that either she was going to have to put him in a nursing facility or have caregivers come in, professional caregivers come into the home. And they were fortunate they were in a financial position they could do that. But you know what? Even though she had help 24/7, he was not comfortable unless he knew where she was, unless she was somewhere in the home. So she still had to alter her life dramatically. She still had that component of sacrifice that I was talking about a little bit ago. There's almost no scenario I can imagine where your life doesn't get severely impacted by the needs of the person who needs care.
And I just thought about something before I asked that question. Even though, and is this a true statement, even though, say, let's your spouse, sibling, or some family member, even though you want to help them, everybody is not emotionally, I hate to say it like this, but emotionally equipped to be a caregiver. And that's just a fact. And what can you kind of say something about that?
Yes, again, I'll refer to something in my own life. My mother is now in assisted living, and I am astounded by the staff at this place where she is. They are so good-natured and so patient and so kind and gentle, and that just thrills me because I want my mother treated like that. But you're right. Not everybody can do it. I have to tell you, even though she's my mom, there are times when I'm like, Mom, and I'm just going crazy because she either didn't hear something or she thinks, she has difficulty with her sight, but we'll be in the car and she'll say, you're not going the right way. This isn't. And I go, Mom, I got a GPS and I got two eyes that work. I know I'm going the right way. And she'll still argue with me. No, this doesn't look familiar. This doesn't look right. And so you spend a lot of time taking a deep breath and just being patient. And sometimes still at the end of the day, I'm getting ready to leave. And then she'll put her arms around me and say, you're so good to me. And I'm so grateful for everything you do. And then I feel horribly guilty because I was impatient with her at certain points in the day. So God bless the professionals who keep it together, even when people are trying. Even when they're imagining, maybe their dementia is such, they're imagining this person is hurting them or not being kind or helpful to them. And still, I have seen these people just keep it together over and over and over again. It's a gift. You're right.
And Paula, and I know we're getting ready to take a break in a couple of minutes, about 2 minutes or so. What I want to say is, caregiver and griever burnout. There's such a thing as burnout. Oh, yeah. And you're talking about, the emotional toll on caregivers and people who are grieving. And we're going to talk about the Care Companion app after the break. But what are the signs of burnout that a person can witness? Now, I understand people might have a bad day, might get a little irritated, but you can have a burnout as a caregiver, but then you can also witness, wow, this person does not need to be doing this anymore because it's affecting their whole well-being.
Yeah, I think there are levels. And, one of the first ones I think you would notice is lack of energy, because it's a drain when you're doing something that is either irritating you or upsetting you or just depleting your energy. Irritation, anger, and then even sadness and depression can be aspects of burnout, because there's a sense of hopelessness, because in many cases there's no getting well. This person is on a trajectory toward death. And so that's where the grieving comes in too. And the grieving can drain your energy and make you feel sad and depressed. And overwhelmed. So there are many, many aspects to it, Michelle. You're absolutely right. And if you start realizing that you're experiencing more depleting experiences and feelings than energizing, it may be time for you to change that role.
Especially when the caregiver, can start being resentful towards the person they're caring for, and that can be communicated to the person who they're caring for. And it's like, okay, when you start feeling resentful, then maybe it's time to pull back.
Totally, because that can lead to elder abuse, and that's exactly what you don't want.
Exactly.
We're going to have to take a station break, but we're going to come back. This is a very, very interesting topic and need to be discussed. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this discussion, all you have to do is just go to the comments. Ask any questions that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley. Heart disease research saves lives. It's that simple. Thanks to medical advancements funded by the American Heart Association, more women are surviving heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular diseases than ever before. But there's still so much work to do.
Hi, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm raising funds to support life-saving research because every heartbeat is worth fighting for. In honor of Women's History Month, please join me in support of the American Heart Association and women's health.
The future is here.
Now is the time to pursue the greatness in you. Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith meets future. We are a fully accredited, 100% online Christian university. We offer bachelor's degree, master's and doctorate degree programs, built for students like you. Affordable tuitions, 30+ degree programs, 100% online and flexible. Integrating faith with learning. Study from anywhere at your pace. At VCU, we do not just prepare you for a degree. We prepare you for purpose. Discover who you are. Grow in faith. And build a future that impacts the world.
Are you ready to start your journey today?
Visit www.viridianchristianuniversity.com.
Apply today and be among the global leaders.
welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And Paula Shaw is putting it out there. It's information that we all need to know and understand. We're talking about caregiver burnout. I know it happens all the time. It does. And Paul, I want to pick it back up from there. And I want to show a quick video once we finish up this right here.
Okay.
But you were talking about caregiver burnout.
It's an all-encompassing task that you have in front of you when you're a caregiver. And let's not forget that almost always you are in a state of anticipatory grief because let's say, use the example of someone with Alzheimer's. You don't know how long that person has, but you know that in the end, the disease will take them. And so it's not like you're taking care of someone with a broken leg and in a certain amount of time, they're going to be just fine. It's not like that for most caregivers. You are usually dealing with the elderly. You're usually dealing with either Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, or you're dealing with some other kind of disease, cancer, or something of that nature that is going to ultimately lead to death. So let's think about what happens when we're grieving. We're sad. Our energy is depleted. We're depressed. We may be fearful. We may be anxious. So all of those pieces can be part of our experience as a caregiver too, because inevitably, this is going to end in loss. And that's another aspect of it that's so difficult. And it's why I feel it's so important for caregivers to have support and for caregivers to have community and resources, because sometimes just talking to somebody else in a similar situation who gets it, that can help you so much. Just, someone who can go, oh, I know. Oh my God, I feel that way too. Or I've experienced that too. It can be so healing because it takes you out of isolation. And one of the things we know is grievers don't heal in isolation. And I don't think caregivers do well in isolation either, because it's just too easy to get overwhelmed and feel like you're drowning in the experiences that you're having that are difficult.
Wow. I tell you, it is isolation. Loneliness is a problem. Mm-hmm. Even when you're not the person that's being cared for. And so tell our viewers and listeners about the Caregiver Companion app.
Yes. Well, actually, they may be familiar with Amy Scruggs, who has been our guest on this show before. And Amy's story was that she gave up her career as a media coach to go take care of her father, who had Alzheimer's disease. And Amy actually sang at my dad's celebration of life. My dad, I lost him first. And 2 months later, she lost her dad unexpectedly. And she and I just started talking about the journey that obviously at that point we're both grieving. And then we had both been in caregiver roles, and mine was still ongoing with my mother. And so we just decided that people shouldn't have to do this alone. Amy is a whiz at social media, and she had developed many followers and was trying to share with people the different kinds of activities and things she was doing with her father, because she studied up and she was doing things that were really helping his dementia through Alzheimer's. And so we decided to create an app that would be both for caregivers to give them support and grieving people to give them support. And we're calling it Care Companion. And it will contain resources. It will contain links. It will contain videos where we're giving you ideas or teaching you about concepts or giving you tools to help you with your grief or with your caregiver frustrations or the sense of overwhelm. We're just very excited about sharing all that we've learned in our caregiving roles and also in our grieving roles. And so we have high hopes that we could take our pain and turn it into something good and useful and helpful and supportive for other people.
Well, I know that last year when I was going through, when I lost my daughter, Paula, if you wouldn't have been there to as my grief coach, that would have been very, very tough for me. Yeah, so wow. And Amy, she's a godsend as well. You know, I love Amy.
Well, you mentioned earlier in the show, JC, that sometimes, you know, it's so important to have that professional person who just maybe has skills, maybe has tools, has more experience than you, because, you know, even if you've lost others in your family, each loss is unique. And so I think it's an important thing to stress to our listeners and viewers that even though grief is going to happen, it's a natural, normal part of life. You may want to seek help in dealing with your grief. And whether that help is through your church, through a friend, through a family member, or through an app like Care Companion, there are resources that can make the journey a little easier. There are people who can make the journey a little easier. And please seek those things out.
We have to seek them out. I want to show this commercial, what you sent, and then we're going to go to commercial break and talk about it on the other side.
Okay.
Here we go.
Caring for a loved one can be one of life's greatest challenges, and no one should have to do it alone. That's why the Care Companion app was created. Inside, you'll find guided resources for caregiving, supporting and navigating grief, educational videos, and community forums to connect with others who truly understand the journey. You can even start with a free downloadable guide. Find it today by downloading the Passion.io app and search for Care Companion.
Oh, that is wonderful. I tell you what, we're going to take a station break.
Okay.
We're going to come back. We got a lot more that we want to talk about. And I tell you, it's not too late to be part of this conversation. All you have to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on, 84 different platforms. Ask any questions, and I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet one of my most favorite friends. Millions of you watch his show, and I know that you are dying of the next episode. Don't miss it out. It's coming from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, Africa. Watch his program on his show.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I have to tell you, Paula Shaw, I got one of the kings, His Royal Highness Nano Otu is watching the show from Ghana. So he knows that makes me happy. He's a very good friend of mine. And we got Monica Savage watching the show. She does so many great things. And if anybody ever is looking for a travel agent that's going to get them the best prices, get them there, that's the one to look for. And Stan Graham has been a fantastic watching fan of the show for a long time. And we got my very, very good friend, Renee Toppins, watching the show. So we got a lot of people watching the show because this topic is so important. So, Nana Ote, I will talk to you later. But Paul, I want to get back to the Caregiver app that we were talking about and some of the things that it would do in educating our public. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
There.
Okay.
That's so strange. I didn't mute myself, but okay, thank you. One of the things I was going to say that I'm so excited about with the app is, we talk about things on this podcast that I think are really important and helpful for people. But if we want to share that with someone else, oftentimes they don't have time to listen to a whole podcast, a whole show. What Amy and I are going to be able to do on the app is take little clips of important topics, or we will be doing, since we've both done podcasts, we'll be doing little conversations with each other on a particular topic, like maybe ways for caregivers to feed themselves, feed energy back into their lives when they're really exhausted at the end of a day. Maybe some hacks for how do you get yourself feeling more joyful if you're starting to feel just sad or depressed. We're going to be giving links to people, of groups and others that they can reach out to for support and help. And we'll be giving lots of tools, especially because, as Michelle mentioned in the beginning of the show, I am one of the founding members of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. And so we do work that's like working with the energy system as well as the mind, the heart, the body. And so sometimes things like tapping meridian points can be really helpful in helping you shift your energy or shift that emotional place that you're in. We'll be sharing those kinds of tools as well, and be providing a place for questions and answers that will be archived on the site. So whenever you're able to pop onto the site, you can get information, resources, and help. It won't just be, 1 hour-long show that's archived somewhere and you got to work your way through it to find the answer you need. So there's a lot of exciting aspects that we're looking forward to, and there will be information for caregivers. There will be information for grievers, and there will be educational videos and resources for anyone who comes to the app seeking support. So we're very, very excited about that.
So I tell you, when you all get the app completely together, I would love for you and Amy to come on the show and talk about it.
That's a great idea, Jason. I would love that. I'd love that, because you know what, as far as we know, I mean, there are apps out there for just about everything, but Amy and I bring together two unique aspects of this whole picture. And like I was saying earlier, every caregiver is a griever on some level. And excuse me, they need help. Isolation doesn't work. People need support, and they need ideas from other people in a similar situation. How are you coping? What are you doing? What tools have you found to be the most effective? That's the kind of conversations that we're going to bring to people.
You know, when you just reminded me, you just said caregivers are grievers as well. It made me think when COVID first came out, when COVID happened, how the medical profession, the nurses and doctors, were experiencing burnout, taking care of multitudes of patients and seeing what's going on. Yeah. So it just reminded me of that. Mental health professionals and caregivers who are part of that, they do experience burnout. So I guess my question is, what are the consequences of not receiving adequate support while caregiving or grieving?
Wow. I guess if I were to put it in one word, I would say energy. Your energy will be drained. And without energy, we're not capable of doing much of anything. And so you bring up such an important point, Michelle. We have to take care of ourselves. It is not selfish to be self-caring, especially if you are trying to care for somebody else. Remember, as I tell clients all the time, they can line up with their little tin cups, but if your well is dry, nobody is getting a drink. So you need to replenish your energy. You need to take care of yourself. You need to find ways, whether that's taking a walk at the end of the day or doing some breathing exercises. I find meditating every day is a great way of renewing my energy and just smoothing me out. So it might be a bike ride. It might be, vigorous exercise for some, but you need to find what works for you, what renews you, what restores you, and do that. Take your own self-care as seriously as you take your self-giving, your caregiving of others.
I have a two-part question. I know we're ending the show, but it's a two-part question. What does somebody, I'm talking about a family member, have to ask themselves before they decide they want to be the caregiver? And that's number one. And number two, how common is it that you do have a caregiver, family related, that feels guilty if they want to just remove themselves from that role? The guilt of how they'll be seen by other family members. Oh, this is your brother, this is your spouse. Oh, you're just leaving them to get some stranger. How selfish. What about your vows, et cetera, et cetera? So it's a two-part question. What should you really ask yourself before you say, I'm going to be the caregiver? And how is guilt contributed to burnout when you just don't want to do it anymore?
Well, I think that's a huge point, Michelle, because you've got to ask yourself, do I have the patience for this? Do I have the desire? Can I pull it off financially? For so many people, it's not a matter of choosing the caregiver role. There's no option because there isn't enough money to hire somebody to be caregiving full time. So that's one of the biggest problems. It often becomes a family member because there's no other choice. There isn't the money available to hire a professional. So that's a really big problem for many people because it isn't their choice. They maybe really liked their life the way it was, and now they've got to alter it. So I would say, though, first ask yourself, is this going to work also in my life? Can I find a way to let this feed me and help me feel good about myself in the world? Or is this just going to be something that's going to drain me, deplete me, and make me bitter? If that's the case, then find somebody else.
Well, we are out of time right now, but we might have to do part 2 of this because, Paula, the way that you explain, the way that you present is so educational to people that are out there that is seeking help. So I'll tell you what, you know that you're a standing guest on the show anytime you want to. You know that on Wednesdays or Thursdays, we got Bridges Beyond Grief, which is hosted by you. Mm-hmm. And I fall into the co-host seat. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. I'd like to thank Michelle Cooley for putting together another outstanding show. Yeah. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always, always, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your life.